When we create a group without specifying the group ID, without specifying the group ID, without specifying the group ID. See that case 1. If there is no user defined group IDs, it will start it will start assigning from 500. And case 2, if there is user defined group ID, it will start it will it will it will take the incremental value of the highest user defined group ID. It will take the increment value of the highest user defined group ID. Okay. Now, so when you go for this cat / password, it goes the entire information. But I want to read a specified group information only. For example, I want to read only a CCNP information. Then I can use this filter called grep. Grep CCNP / etc / password. Sorry, /etc / group. You can see that it's showing the group information now, only CCNP. Actually, when you go for this line cat /it / group, then what happens? It shows me the entire information, entire group file information, but I want to read only CCNP information. So grep CCNP /it / group. When you go here, you can see CCNP. What the group ID is? 4001. What the group ID is? Photograph CCNP and the group name, what the file of the file, that is CCNP 4001. I want to modify this group ID. So it's 4001. I would like to modify it to 5000. So if you want to modify the group ID, it will be the syntax like this. Syntax will be like this. See here, to modify to modify the group ID, to modify the group ID. Syntax like your group mod -g, your new ID, and the group name. This is a syntax to modify the group ID. Let us verify. Group mod like a new ID, like go for new ID of -g, and new ID like 5000, and the group name CCNP -g, group mod -g 5000. New ID is 5000 and the group name is CCNP. If you verify by using this graph, so previously for CCNP, what the group ID was 2001, but now what the group ID is 5000, right? In a similar way here, if you want to modify the user login name, group name, see, to modify the group name, if you want to modify the group name, so what the syntax will be? It's like this, like group mod -n, your new name, and the old name. Group mod -n, new name and old name. I like to modify CCNP with CCIE. CCNP with CCIE. See the syntax here. Group mod -n, CCIE with CCNP. So I'm renaming CCNP with CCIE. Now see here, grep CCIE /etc / group. You can see there for CCIE, what the group ID showing as 5000 rupees. If you try to read the CCNP, you'll never get the information. Why? The CCNP is no more. The CCNP renamed to CCIE. And if you want to delete a group here, you can see it here, to delete a group. So if you want to delete a group here, there's a syntax like group add and sorry, group del as well as the group name. So group del, the group name is CCIE. That's it. So group del, group name, you should delete a group here. Now see that? It's not showing CCIE also. Why? Because we have deleted. Yes, fine sir. You can carry on. Now to delete a group. The next here, for every group we can assign a password, right? To assign a password, a password to a group. If you want to assign a password to a group here, so it's like this, like G password and the group name. Group name. So if you want to assign a password to the group, see G password and the group name. I have one group by name sales. So when I go for G password and group name, the group name says asking for the new password. I'll give the password as Linux. I re-enter the password Linux. So when I re-enter the password for this user, right? And all the passwords are stored in one of the file. As I say that here, G shadow. So when you create a group here, the group information stored in /group. And when you when you assign a password to the group here, the group passwords are stored in the file. The file name is /g shadow. You can see there for the sales group we have assigned a password, and the password is an encrypted password. What is this? Is an encrypted password for the group sales. So like this we can create a group, we can modify the group, as well as we can delete a group, then assign a password to the group. But what the group is? A collection of users. The collection of users. So what is users is? Okay. So what is a user, and what we have to specify while creating a user? What you have to specify while creating a user here? One more thing. The whatever the IDs we have used for group, the same numbers are even applicable for users also. That is, when you try to create a users, the user IDs from 0 to 499 are from system defined. The IDs from like a 500 to 60,000 are user defined. See this user IDs and group IDs are different. Are different. User IDs. The user IDs. What the user IDs are? It's like this. First one, your defined. System defined from 0 to 499. And second one is user defined from your 500 to 60,000. System defined, what are they from? 0 to 499. User defined, what are they from? 500 to 60,000. Now syntax to create a user. Syntax to create a user. Okay, don't get afraid. See, this is a simple syntax but very lengthy syntax here. See this, like your user add hyphen u, like a uid, then hyphen g, your gid, then hyphen capital G, gid, then hyphen d, your slash home, slash like your home directory, then hyphen m, then hyphen c, like your comment on user, then hyphen s slash bin slash your shell name, and then the username. This is a syntax which used to create a user. It used to create a user. Now within this syntax here, we're using some options here. So what options we have used here? Options like this. First one, u, where u stands for user ID. Then small g, a small g stands for your primary group, stands for like your primary. Then capital G, it stands for your secondary group. Then next hyphen D stands for the home directory. The home directory. Then hyphen M, it stands for like a make directory. Then hyphen C, it stands for like your comment on user. Then hyphen S is for your shell environment, like your shell environment. Let me create two users, come back here and explain these options clearly. So let me create two users here, like your user add hyphen U, like your 1400, then hyphen G, like your sales, hyphen capital G, your mark, finance, CCNA, finance, CCNA, then hyphen D, like your slash home slash uh, slash home slash, like your Kiran, hyphen M, space hyphen C, like your uh, comment on, like your this Linux administrator, hyphen C, then hyphen S slash bin slash bash, and the username is Kiran. It proves to be very lengthy command. We can create user account like this also, like a user add IB. Is the best one, the first one or the second one? Obviously people say that the second one is the best one. Why? Because a simple syntax, user add, username. Okay, now let us explain all these options one by one. So I'm trying to, while creating a user, I'm using this hyphen U option, where hyphen U stands for user ID, where hyphen U stands for user ID. Means when you're creating a user account, for every user an ID will be allocated by default. That is nothing but a user ID for the identification of the user. And we have two different types of IDs. What are they? System defined, user defined. User IDs from 0 to 490 are system defined, and the user IDs from 500 to 60,000, what they are called as user defined. Then hyphen small g is called as primary group, means it's the main group to which a user belongs to. Previous say that we have primary group and secondary group. While creating a group, we simply create a group. We cannot define whether it's a primary or secondary. The definition of a primary and secondary comes into the existence here only while creating a only while creating a user. After creating a group, those groups can be assigned as a primary and can be assigned as a secondary. So small g stands for primary group and capital G stands for secondary group.